Hey Geeks and Gamers, today I was thinking a lot about pinball. You know, pinball is a game as old as time. Not really though, it's really about as old as the 1930s. But pinball has been around for a very, very, very long time. And, you know, there was a trend in like the 90s and early 2000s that I was thinking about and I kind of miss. Back in those days, if you had a video game character that was either shaped like a ball or could turn or fit into a ball in some way, they had a pinball spin-off. And I specifically think around the GameBoy Advance and DS era. I think about like Kirby, Pokemon, Metroid. Fucking Mario had one. Of course, Sonic had multiple pinball games. There's just a lot of pinball spin-offs, and one of the classic video game characters that makes the most sense to have a pinball spin-off is, of course, Pac-Man. Today I'm here to review Pac-Man Pinball Advance for the Game Boy Advance. Pac-Man and Pinball, this is not their first run-in together. Pac-Man and Pinball have been buddies for various years. There was an old Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man pinball machine back in the day. And there's been other various Pac-Man pinball things that have happened throughout the years. And even one of Pac-Man's classic arcade games that is often forgotten about, Baby Pac-Man, is actually very unique because it is half pinball table. Like, there's a pinball table on the bottom, and then there's a monitor up top where you play the maze. And if you, like, fall out of the maze, you have to play pinball to get back up into the maze. So Pac-Man and pinball have gone hand in hand for a very long time. That's why it's kind of surprising to me that this game, Pac-Man Pinball Advance, didn't release until 2005. It seems like Pac-Man would have gotten this treatment of video pinball earlier in his Pac career. I'm a huge fan of Pac-Man. I grew up playing a lot of the Pac-Man games, and I'm very nostalgic of this time period in particular because this is around the time of the Pac-Man World series. If you never played the Pac-Man World series, they started on PS1 and went up through like PS2, GameCube, and they were sort of like Pac-Man 3D platformers that were trying to breathe new life into the franchise, and I really enjoyed that series. So this kind of stems off of that, has some of like the character designs and artwork, and oftentimes now whenever you see artwork of Pac-Man, it's usually of the World incarnation. But yeah, just seeing this stuff kind of brings me back to that time period. Pac-Man Pinball Advance is a game where you play pinball. There is a story. It's very, very loosely connected to the game itself. The citizens of Pac Village have gone missing, and Pac-Man has to save them from the ghost or something. There's like a little cutscene at the beginning. It's really just there to give you an excuse to play some pinball. And Professor Pac made some kind of invention. I'm guessing it's the pinball thing. But Pac-Man Pinball Advance is a pinball game for the Game Boy Advance where you get 2 tables to play on with multiple objectives, and it's Pac-Man themed. That in itself should sell you on the premise if you like pinball and or Pac-Man. But I will try to talk about it the best of my ability. I do actually have a cartridge of this, and I have played it on my Game Boy SP, but, you know, trying to play video pinball on a tiny device like that is a little hard now. Some of those pinball games for the Game Boy systems don't age that great, but I actually find this one is pretty well done. The first table you're going to get is, of course, Pac Village, which is the easiest of the 2 tables. There's fun objectives on this table. Of course, there's like objectives. You have to clear the dots on the table. I think you have to do it twice, and then you get to win the table. Of course, that's like classic maze Pac-Man gameplay where you have to clear the board a couple times and then you win the round. You know, you win like that area and you move on. So that's kind of cool. There are ghosts and you get power dots. You can eat the ghosts. You can find fruit. There's a house in the middle of the board where you can shoot Pac-Man up into it. And you can sort of, I think you spend, I never really understood what I was spending, but I think I'm spending the dots I'm collecting or the points or something. But you can get multiple things. I actually got Miss Pac-Man on one of the runs, so I got like a multi-ball of Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man, which was cute. And yeah, that was a very cool idea for the game. I find this table to be pretty fun. I have trouble aiming the ball to go around the back side of the table to get some of those dots, but other than that, I think this table was cute. And yeah, it's just a fun Pac-Man themed pinball table. The second table is the Haunted Boardwalk, which is more of a ghosty themed one. Kind of feels like a ghosty themed one mixed with Pac-Man World 1 kind of boardwalk aesthetic from like that game. It is the hardest of the 2 tables, and I think it's a cool table, but I could not get very far in it because this one takes a lot more precision when it comes to actually aiming Pac-Man when you're shooting him as the ball, which I found to be pretty hard to do. And honestly, I'm not very good at pinball to begin with. So this one is for more skilled players. If you're more skilled at pinball, I can see this one being a lot of fun. Pac-Man Pinball Advance is a fun time waster, I think. You know, I think there's a reason that this is kind of like the forgotten genre now. You don't see a lot of pinball spin-offs anymore like you did back in the day. And I think it's because we just don't have a place for them. Back in the day, a lot of these spin-offs would be on these handheld consoles. Very rarely would you get one on an actual home console, but usually they would go straight to the handhelds. And that was a good place for them because, you know, you can break this game out for 15 minutes while you're waiting on the bus or something, and bam, you've played some Pac-Man pinball, you know? It was fun. But now I think a lot of the handheld experiences that are quick and snappy are like mobile. And I don't think I've ever played a good mobile pinball game. So these kind of games, I don't know if there's really a place for them now. But it's fun to look back at this era of gaming and, you know, reminisce about things like this that don't really get made anymore. This game got mediocre reviews. They're like right down the middle, you know, 3s out of 5s and 7 out of 10s and stuff. And yeah, it's just all around, you know, people thought it was okay. You know, it wasn't like, don't rush out to buy Pac-Man Pinball Advance. It's just kind of a game that if you end up with it, you can still have fun playing it. But yeah, it's not the crowning jewel of the Pac-Man series. But hey, Pac-Man Pinball Advance is fun. I was trying to read up on this game, and there's not really a lot about the development or anything, but I did see that there was a canceled sequel, and this makes me sad. So this one on GBA was made by Humansoft, which I've never heard of them, and I can't even click on their Wikipedia article to see what they've made. But I saw at the bottom there was a canceled sequel that was going to come to Nintendo DS that was going to be made by Zen Studios. That makes me upset because if you don't know Zen, they are like the only company out there that really keeps video pinball alive with their their Zen pinball games and stuff, and they actually do a really good job. I play quite a bit of Zen pinball, or I haven't really played that much recently because they've like launched new tables and stuff, but when Zen Pinball 3, I put a lot of time into that game and played a lot of the tables on that game. So kind of sad to see that there was going to be like another canceled, but sequel to this on DS. I would have loved to see Zen try their hand at a Pac-Man Pinball, and who knows, maybe Namco will let them do it on one of their Zen Pinball series things now. But yeah, kind of sad. I would have played that. I played a lot of Metroid Prime Pinball on DS. I would have played Pac-Man Pinball by Zen Studios. Have the balls to play Pac-Man Pinball? That was a joke. That was a joke.